Well, welcome back, everybody, to Raider Roster Report. This is Raider Sparks coming at you today. We're going to talk about the offensive line prospects for the Raiders and to kind of do a little outlook on the line itself and see what sort of prospects are in the draft for us. I know, like most of everybody in Raider Nation, I really hope they just tackle that right tackle position via free agency, but you never know what's going to happen with the line. I think the line's pretty unique. But anyways, before we get into all that, just want to thank everybody. Finally reached 200 subscribers, so thank you all for subscribing. Please continue to share the videos, like the videos if you like them, comment. Comments really help, and really do appreciate it. Glad to hit 200, and want to try to keep going here. So please get the word out. If especially if anybody likes draft content or the Raiders just update on the rosters, things like that, please get the video out as much as you can and let's share it. That way we get more opinions from Raider Nation. But anyways, the offensive line is a challenging one because it can go so many different directions. We could easily just go out and say, you know what, Leatherwood, James, Simpson, and Miller, they're the starters again, and we'll just go out and get a right tackle free agent. A lot of people are looking at Morgan Moses from the Jets last year, which is not a bad pick. It would be sort of probably a 2 or 3 year option for him, probably around 7-8 million a year, something like that. Maybe like 2 years guaranteed, like 14 million, somewhere in there. I know PFF. That's what they are reporting. It seems probably about right for a tackle his age and with his production. 1,022 snaps last year, 3 penalties, 4 sacks, which is really good. Had 49 pressures, though, which is a little concerning. I think that's a little high for the amount of pass snaps he had because the 1,022, probably about, I would say about 60% or so, probably only pass snaps. So, Brandon Parker had 801 snaps last year. He gave up 9 penalties, 7 sacks, and not all of those were the pass snaps either. I just looked at the overall snaps, so big difference there. But Moses' PFF grade was 71, which is good. He's a good tackle. He's just a short-term option. So if we went out and got him, it would be interesting. But would put our line right about 32 million if he was at about $7.5 million. But there's a lot of things that can happen with the line. I mean, if you want to think about it, it sounds like we're going to a power run or gap blocking scheme, which will simplify things. It'd be good for John Simpson if he continues to be our starter. And Leatherwood could play in any scheme. It doesn't really matter. But it's interesting because Andre James and Kolton Miller are zone blocking scheme guys, so it doesn't really fit what they do. Unique thing though is Andre James has an out in his agreement this year, so the Raiders could walk away and only have 1.5 million in dead money. Kolton Miller, they can walk away or trade or whatever, and it's zero dead money. So they can completely redo this whole line if they wanted to. If they wanted to come in and say, you know what, Leatherwood, yeah, you're in. Simpson, we're going to get a backup for you. We've got good, so we're good there. We're going to get some free agents in here to improve the line and get to a better blocking scheme. Totally something they could do. They could also look to the draft as well, which I really hope they don't do first round tackle. I mean, we just went that route last year and didn't work out. Leatherwood, I mean, Leatherwood could go back to tackle. I mean, a lot of people talk about Leatherwood as struggling at guard this past year, saying that it's in part because Brandon Parker was next to him. But I would say the opposite could be true too. He might have struggled to tackle because of who was at guard next to him. We were supposed to either have Incognito or Good there next to him, and that didn't happen. It's not like we had an All-Pro right next to him at tackle. So they may not be done with him at tackle yet. I've said that before. I'll say it again. It's possible he goes back. Personally, even after he got drafted, I said most likely he's going to be a guard. I think a lot of people said it, and it kind of turned out true this year. But we'll see moving forward. But a lot can happen with this line. So just kind of wait until free agency to really narrow it in on kind of what it is we need, that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, if they wanted to trade Kolton Miller, I'm sure they could get maybe a first round pick for him. And Andre James, probably a day 2 type pick for him as well. For somebody that with a more zone blocking scheme, if we wanted to totally rechange our line, we definitely could do that. But anyways, let's get into draft prospects. We'll just assume that for now we've got let's see here, Leatherwood and James and Kolton Miller, and maybe in the draft we'll look for a replacement for John Simpson. Again, we do have good, which is kind of our ace in the hole. But let's get into the draft prospects. So Kenyon Green, by far, 100%. If he's there, you could take him at 22, no problem. He probably won't be there. He's a top 10 talent in the league. He's 6'4", 325. He's a junior, so he's young. And if anybody has any questions about his talent, just go to YouTube and watch the All 22 of Alabama in 2020. That tape there, it says everything you need to know. He missed one block the whole game, and it was because he was pulling. He'd already pulled before in the same play, and he got the end. This time the end faked in, went out. He missed the block. Other than that, it was a textbook game. Not only that, it was a nasty game. There were some blocks that were just incredible. So I mean, if you have any question, any doubts, as a top 10 player, and he could come right in right now, take John Simpson's spot at left guard from day one, not a problem. But he could also play right tackle. He's played tackle, guard. He could do it all. So I mean, there's a short list of folks that I would say absolutely no 100% guarantee, and I'll do another video on that after I get through all the draft series of potential guys at 22. But this is definitely one of them, no question. I mean, Zion Johnson, he's a redshirt senior. He did really well at Senior Bowl, obviously playing center and guard, that type of thing. He played tackle at Boston College. They profiled him as a guard who could play center, but all the positions as well. And he's good, but he is also older, right? He's 5 years in. Tyler Linderbaum's a redshirt junior, so he has 4 years experience. And so just touch on those two guys. Zion, they're all three of these guys are going to go in the first round. But Kenyon Green is far better than each of them. I mean, for our system anyways, for what they can do. I mean, Tyler Linderbaugh is a really good center, but there are like no centers in this draft. Look no further than the Senior Bowl. They were doing like open tryouts, and Zion Johnson happened to be one of the guys doing the snaps. He got a lot of attention for it, but I mean, Tyler Linderbaugh is a good. I mean, he'll be good in like a Shanahan type system with a lot of screens, and actually that might actually profile fine for our system. I would just have trouble in a first round center when we already have Andrew James. If we're going to run that system, he could do just fine. I just think there's other areas where we could go. I mean, Linderbaugh is clearly the best center in the draft. He does have some strength issues, which he's going to have to address, I'm sure, in the combine. But as far as mobility, his nastiness in the run game, all of those things, apparently he's an extremely smart player. So I have no doubt there. But I just don't think it matches what we need. I don't think that positional value would be the best for us in the first round of this draft. And Zion Johnson, again, I mean, if we're going to go there, I actually like Tyler Smith better, which I'm going to get to in a second. But yeah, Zion had a few anchor issues, I thought. I mean, he wasn't perfect in the Senior Bowl. He was good, and he should be. He's 5-year senior. A lot of these guys are 5-year seniors, which is a little bit suspect, questionable. I mean, I thought the Shrine Bowl actually had better, had more talent as far as traits for a lot of these linemen than the Senior Bowl even did. I thought it was kind of strange the way they did it, and obviously it looked like the defensive line dominated this offensive line, so it's a little hard to judge, but just try to get through the best you can. But yeah, Zion's good, but I just I don't think he outdoes Tyler Smith. I know Tyler Smith's down a little bit right now in the mock drafts, but I mean, I think he has a chance to go in the first round because if you look at all the first round tackles that go, and I mean, he could play guard, but I think as a right tackle, I think he'd be dominant. I mean, if you watch his tape, Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, if you watch his tape last year from the Cincinnati game with Myjai Sanders or even Ohio State with Tariq Smith, he was throwing those dudes around. I mean, literally just like he was brutal to Myjai. I mean, there's no doubt. If you put this guy on the inside, he can start at left guard right now. He can start at right tackle right now for us. They project him as a third rounder. I think by the time it's said and done, he'll probably move up to. He's a redshirt junior, so 4 years. He's not an older player. So it's not like he's dominating because he's older. I think he'll move up close to the first round, maybe second round, like our 55 or 54 pick, whatever we have. This would be a real possibility, I would think. So let's just say that. Let's say he's in the second round. He's there. We address a skill position in the first round, which is what we should do, either receiver or cornerback, unless we do something different in free agency. Then I could see us going for something like this. But Kenyon Green, Tyler Smith, both those guys would be fantastic for us. And then another guy in the second round, Sean Ryan out of UCLA, 6'5", 320. He played left tackle. In fact, he had 2,147 left tackle snaps, only one at left guard, two at right guard. And again, another guy that everybody's profiling for the center position, but I think, or for the guard position. But I think the top tackles in this draft, there's probably only Neil, Cross, Imuko, and Penning are the four tackles, legit tackles that are going to go in the first round. After that, I mean, it's wide open, and so some of these guys can't all play guard. Some of these guys are going to have to play tackle, and there's no reason Sean Ryan couldn't play right tackle for us. Listen, we've done well at UCLA. We've got Andre James and Colton Miller, and Andre James switched positions from tackle to center. There's no reason why Sean Ryan can't move over to right tackle. He's a good athlete. He gave up 1 sack last year, 3 quarterback hits, 9 hurries, 13 total pressures all year. So, yeah, no reason why he can't. He's not an older player. In fact, he's a junior. So there's no reason. There's just upside with him. 75.1 pass blocking grade according to PFF, 86.1 run blocking grade. So he gets after it in the run game, which is what we're going to want from our right tackle. So Tyler Smith or Sean Ryan, I would definitely take either one of those for our right tackle in the second round if we have to wait. The first round, I hope we don't go tackle. And if we got Kenny Green, that would be awesome. You could replace Simpson. If we got Morgan Moses, our line would be looking sweet at that point. But, anyways, another guy I'll just touch on real quick is Ed Ingram. So they talk about the Senior Bowl. My thought was the best guard at the Senior Bowl. I know Zion stole the show, but I thought Ed Ingram from the one-on-ones I watched was the best. Unfortunately, he's been at LSU since 2017, so he's an older player. I mean, if you want a guy to come in right now, immediately start for John Simpson left guard, this is your guy right here. He's probably a third rounder because of his age, 6'4", 320. But, I mean, if you watch the Senior Bowl one-on-ones, all these guys were just doing the whole, contact backup the whole way. These guys are getting blown back right to the coach or the quarterback or whatever. Not Ed Ingram. Ed Ingram steps up and just stones the dude, boom, immediately. It's like that was his deal. It's like perfect. That's what we want to see, right? And so, I mean, from day one starter right there, Ed Ingram, third round. If we want to replace John Simpson, boom, done. Piece of cake. Another guy that could play right tackle for us, I'm sure would be starter. Darian Canard. I know a lot of people are projecting him for guard as well. I guess if you look at his arms, it might be a little shorter. So I'm going to hold out here because he is dominant at Kentucky. 6'5", 345, 2,225 right tackle snaps, only 2 at right guard. This guy's nasty. In 2020, he had 47 knockdown blocks. I mean, he's a beast. A pass rushing grade of 84.3, run grade 91.9. He gave up 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, 4 hurries, 7 total pressures in SEC play last year. So, yeah, he came to the Senior Bowl. They tried him at guard. He didn't look as good. Played tackle, looked fine. He had some moments on Twitter and all that with Jeremiah Johnson or whatever that he got blown up twice, but he competed. He actually beat him once in that one-on-one drill. He kind of tied the other, and he got blown up the other one. So, I mean, big deal. He took on the challenge. He had some ups and downs, but I think as far as us go, like, he's probably going to be a second rounder. He'd come in and start at right tackle for us, no problem. Definitely want to check the measurables just to make sure he's not too short of armed. But I mean, you look at his body of work at Kentucky, and I think he's a guy that you could take a shot on. Same with Jeremy Sawyer out of Georgia, another Senior Bowl guy. Played well. 6'5", 345. He projects. Oh, I'm sorry. No, 6'4", 325. Sorry about that. He projects out of Georgia. He's a senior. He projects as a guard as well, but he played tackles well at Georgia, and I think from day one he could come in and start for Simpson, no problem. I think he could easily do both. He's a little bit better athlete, a little longer. He's got the length, but he could also come in and play right tackle for us as well. Another really, really good player. Some other third-round guys like Shrine Bowl Tyrese Robinson out of Oklahoma. He's a redshirt senior. He could come in and play guard. He's primarily a right guard, I believe, 6'3", 334, but he played tackle too and kind of do both. He looked good at the Shrine Bowl. So somebody else I would keep an eye on. Justin Schaefer, 6'3", 326 out of Georgia, another guy to kind of keep an eye on. But if we're focused on the tackle position, Abraham Lucas in the third round, I'm think he'll still be there, Washington State, but he might be gone as well. There might be a real run on these tackles, but he's another player that's really good, really sound. He's a redshirt senior, though, 6'7", 324, 81 wingspan, 34 and 3/8 arms, 10 3/8 hands. So another really strong offensive tackle, a guy that could definitely get the job done for us. No question about it, but I mean, just something to think about. He's definitely a good, solid player. Um, but the age is maybe a little bit of an issue. I know he did really well at the Senior Bowl and definitely turned a lot of heads, and did well in the 101s and had a good career really overall at Washington State. So this guy, like, he could step in right away, and PFF always graded him very highly. For blocking, for pass blocking, especially in the Pac-12. So I mean, he's gotten accolades a lot, and yeah, just a fine player. He would step in as a day one starter for us. No problem there. So another guy to keep an eye on that I liked at the Senior Bowl was Cade Mays. He's got a lot of length. He's 6'5", 325, plays all five positions. Probably best at maybe profiling a guard, but he was playing a lot of center. So if we're looking for a guy that, because we only have one center, Andre James, on the list right now, but if we're looking for a guy to come in and compete with him, this would be the guy, I would think. Very good player. Like I said, played all five offensive line positions. He's got a lot of range. He's got length. He's got power as well. So he'd fit right into our system. No problem there. So I'll be watching for him at the Combine. Dare Rosenthal is another guy I'll be watching at the Combine. Played left tackle for Kentucky, opposite of Darian Canard, but he transferred from LSU. He's a redshirt junior, so only 4 years, 6'7", 367 or 327. He's a big dude. Good blocker, good power, just gets too tall. So I think with him is more of a coaching thing. I think he can come in and play right tackle for us with no problem at all. So just a guy to keep an eye on. And another guy, maybe somewhere in the fifth round, that had a good Shrine Bowl was Verdine Lowe out of Illinois. He's a senior, 6'5", 320, just a really solid left tackle. So if we're looking for a backup or a swing tackle, he'd be a perfect guy to put into the system to draft. So I'm going to keep an eye on Vidarian Lowe out of Illinois at the Combine. Another guy I like for our right tackle spot. Again, these are kind of some more developmental stuff, but potential starters down the road. Myron Cunningham, good player out of Arkansas, 6'6", 325. He's a 5-year guy as well. So he's been around. He's at the Shrine Bowl. He was playing left tackle, but definitely profiles more as a right tackle. So a guy that I'm going to keep an eye on as well at the Combine. And then Bam Elanci, he's barely played football. He came from the UK. Yeah, excellent traits, I should say. Out of Utah, played left tackle, 6'7", 348, 978 hands, 36 and a half arms, and 88 wingspan. So, I mean, if you want to talk about a guy with exceptional length and tools, probably a UDFA guy. He looked good at the Shrine Bowl game, so somebody I'd keep an eye on. And just to touch on a few more guys, like at center, Cameron Jorgensen out of Nebraska, 4-year guy there. He's third team All Big Ten. He was originally a tight end, kind of converted over to center, and really played well at center at Nebraska. He'd fit into our system really well. Joshua Azudu from North Carolina. He's a redshirt junior. He's a tackle. He can play guard as well. But Mac Brown raves about him. Called him the best lineman they had. So another guy to keep an eye out at the Combine. Logan Bruce out of Wisconsin. He's a utility guy. He can play up and down the line as well. Redshirt senior. But keep an eye on him at the Combine. I mean, Wisconsin traditionally produces a lot of good linemen. So I'm gonna keep an eye out for him. And then Luke Wattenberg out of Washington, another center. A little lighter, right around the 300 pounds. So if he can come in a little heavier at the Senior Bowl, can play guard, but really profiles well as a center. So if we're looking for a late backup center, somebody could come in and compete with Andre James, Cameron Jorgensen, or Luke Wattenberg would be great options for us, because it'd be more like UDFA status how we got James. But anyways, that's what I see for the line. I mean, all kinds of things can happen here with our line. I mean, like I said, we have no dead money with Kolton Miller, so he's definitely tradable. If we wanted to get a more power guy, I mean, if we did if we just went and got the top guy, I mean, we could just replace him with that. You know, like I don't know, Ontario Brown or a Taron Armstead. You know, that type of thing. We could definitely do that. In fact, I wrote down like if we went Morgan Moses, Leatherwood, uh, if we went Bradley Bozeman from the Ravens and wanted to replace Andre James with Bradley Bozeman, and then we picked up Orlando Brown, that type of thing, or we could do have that line and only have it at 36 million, so only like 4 million more, and we'd have the top tackle or one of the top tackles, and just totally change over our offense. So you know, something to consider. There's different things the Raiders can do, and so free agency is going to be key in watching what happens with our line. But there's some good prospects out there. I really hope we don't pick, unless it's Kenyon Green. I really hope we don't go for an offensive lineman in the first round. Hopefully, we wait on that a little bit. And second round, third round, yeah, let's attack it if we haven't already attacked it in free agency. But there's also some late round prospects we can certainly get. So we'd be much better off, I believe, in free agency, upgrading our line through the free agency this year and going skill position early, and then addressing the line a little bit later in the draft from just kind of my observation here. But there's definitely some talent we can get. Like you said, Kenyon Green, I really like Tyler Smith, Sean Ryan, those types of guys. So anyways, hopefully you liked the video. Please share, subscribe, comment. If I missed anybody, let me know. If you think I had somebody rated too high, too low, let me know. Give me your thoughts on what we could do with the line here. And again, this is Raider Sparks. Thanks for joining the Raider Roster Report.